Happy Wednesday and Happy New Year. Today I'm going to do a little kind of goal setting, planning, going through different KPIs and things like that, and kind of planning out what my goals and what things I'm going to be changing this year are. We've already started implementing stuff. I just want to get it down on paper so we have a plan when our team meets next week. So this way we have something kind of concrete we can go off of and shoot some projections out there and kind of based off what our team growth is going to look like this year. Um, I'm my goal for 2025, my main goal, obviously, is to increase profits, increase everything. But I also want to increase or kind of keep my return on effort pretty much the same, right? So how much am I making per hour? That's really my goal. Is keeping my per hour pretty much the same while still increasing profits and everything like that. Because I have other businesses I run and things like that, so I need to dedicate time to those. So I can't be all in 100% on this and only do this, right? So I have to kind of um, separate a few things. So with that, I mean, we're still going to be able to push probably over 7 figures this year. Just less interactions with me, which is going to be good. So overall, let's see how this goes. So happy New Year, Mike. So this upcoming year, I'm going to just share my screen. Basically, we're going to be kind of doing a Google Doc together. So essentially, the goal for this upcoming year, happy New Year, man. Is I really want to my changes that I'm going to be making. My main things are going to be increasing my marketing, obviously to increase my deal flow, increase my profits, all that stuff, right? But I want to figure out which type of avenues I'm going to go. So I have a spreadsheet that I put together right here. This is different KPI responses on average for different types of marketing, right? And I have here different scenarios played out. So basically, my goals for 2025 land investing things I'm changing on. So market selection strategy. So we've been doing a lot of North and South Carolina, things like that. This upcoming year, I really want to focus. I want to hit hard targets like Georgia. I want to hit some other states like northern states, and Montana. I want to hit Washington more, Oregon, some California. We're already hitting a lot of the southern states, and stuff like that. We've been doing South Carolina, North Carolina, Texas, Florida, and so on. Like that's been our primary this year. But I want to add in other states. It's not like we don't go to them, but I do want to look at more targeted approaches in these states. Northern states also like Wisconsin. I'd like to hit Michigan, things like that. So we're gonna hit some of these high, more targeted markets. So let's actually open Land Insights up. So for Land Insights, I'm gonna look at this. So I definitely want to hit a Montana this year. Idaho, we've been hitting a little bit. We haven't done a deal in Idaho yet. Oregon, Wyoming. I definitely want to hit Wyoming. The Dakotas, I'm considering working in the Dakotas. They're a little slow sometimes, but I'm considering looking at them a little bit more. I do want to hit more Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan. We want to do more deals in New York and stuff like that too. So that's probably going to be another point of focus. Is basically like, north of Tennessee, I guess you could say. North of Tennessee, essentially, is where we'd love to be, right? So we got Tennessee, right? So let's say everything pretty much north of Tennessee, we'd like to hit more of, ideally, because we do a lot of this area right here, and it's great, but I'd like to expand a little bit more. We don't really do much in Arkansas, but we should. Oklahoma as well. We don't really do too much there, but I'd love to hit them more. So part of my goals this year is I'd really love to hit more of the northern side. Be a little more focused on that. So let's see what that looks like. And then adding into that, markets to avoid and exit. Um, Florida is it's one of these states, right? We hit them, we get some deals, but I kind of want to start avoiding it. I don't. I'm not a big fan of Florida. Um, it just really fights me every step of the way. I know some people are really successful in Florida, but we've done a couple deals there, and it's okay. And we just sent a lot of mail to there, but I really want to stay away from Florida. I definitely want to stay from Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Utah. So FL, CO, Mexico. Yeah, I think Florida, Colorado, Mexico, and Utah probably. Might hit a little Utah, but I want to stay away from it if I can. I'm not a big fan of the desert stuff. So um, we're gonna kind of that's the new markets we're gonna focus on, and we're gonna kind of stay away from this stuff over here. All right, let's look at pricing strategy. So we've been really selective with our pricing the past year, but I want to get down more nitty gritty. Um, so on our average, let's see KPI. This isn't my actual KPI sheet, but our average deal profit is about 39,000 for this past year. So I'd like to get that to stay kind of the same. But I want to update my pricing method. So I want to do more targeted pricing. And I'd like to do like an 80-20 on that. So like actually I'm gonna probably do a probably 50-50. So 50-50 where 50-50 targeted pricing versus county zip pricing. So what that basically means is like instead of going just whole countywide or zip wide, I'm gonna actually be doing more pocketing of my pricing. So it's gonna be a little more time intensive to price it. But once I price that, that's it. It's done. I could use that same pricing all over. So that's gonna be a big thing for that. Um, we also really want to focus with our pricing. Making sure we're getting at like obviously that part of that whole like more targeted pricing is getting out better pricing, better offers out there, right? Our profit margins, I still want to stay to about 40K per deal. That's pretty much what our average has been. And I want to kind of stick with that, right? So operational changes. So our processes and workflows. So a lot of the stuff we've been doing is pretty good, pretty consistent. I do have to say we have to do more team meetings. More team meetings. We need to do more acquisition support. More acquisition support. Let's see. Let's start creating some bullets here. That's fine, actually. More acquisition support. Processes, workflows. More acquisition support. I think we need to add a um add a TC. We do need to add a TC. We've had them in the past, but we need to add a full-time or a part-time TC for our self-listings and things like that. Process workflow. So we have really good processes, SOPs built out and everything like that. Notion, we have everything listed on Notion. So I think sticking with that is going to be really good. But I think I need to kind of implement like reviewing them with everybody. on our meetings. More team meetings. So by more team meetings, I hate meetings. I'm not a meeting person. So I'm thinking more team meetings as in bi-weekly team huddle and weekly AM huddle. I think those two would probably be sufficient. Transaction coordinator. So bi-weekly team huddle, weekly acquisitions manager huddle, and weekly, bi-weekly team leader huddle. So team leader huddle is Michelle. I need to do a bi-weekly team leader huddle with her. Just get on like same page with her every week. We're also going to be doing a weekly pricing huddle. So actually, I'm going to do a bi-weekly pricing huddle. I don't think we need to do weekly. I think if we do opposite, we could just maybe do that. So that's going to be part of the AM huddle. AM huddle. Also, I'm going to be paying for training for AMs. Okay, review news and meetings. Okay. Team updates. So we currently, our team is 3 on the data side and 1 on the AM side. And what we're wanting to do is probably add in a LM at some point, a lead manager at some point. I don't know about when or if, just kind of, we do want to add in an LM eventually. It's probably going to be closer to when we're above 120 leads per month. Okay. All right. So improve marketing and sales tactics. So this has been like our status quo right here. This has been our direct mail, about 12,000 a month, cost about 6,900. Average response rate is about 5.5%. We're getting about 60 leads and contract about 5 of those, and we actually close 1.5. That's about average, whether we're buying them or double closing, whatever the case may be. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 1. Depends on the month and the deal. Like a lot of them will get listed and they don't go anywhere. We have to cancel them. So about average 1.5. So our average cost per closed contract has been 4,600. That's closed, like actually whatever. After all costs, after all our costs and everything like that, our average profit's 39,000. That includes the cost per closed deal. So, on average every month it's about 59,000. So, which is pretty on par. This ratio 8.5 to 1 would be our cost per closed deal to profit ratio. So 8.5 to 1 is actually a pretty crazy profit. So that we want to increase that, and by increasing that is basically we're going to push out the same amount of mail, but the goal is to be more targeted in our pricing and more targeted in our avatar of our seller. By doing those two things, what we're going to do is increase our response rate, and we should get more leads, lower cost per closed deal, and everything like that. So our total profit should increase just by increasing the back end of our stuff. So a little bit of more pricing and more stricter on pricing, and we should be better yielding of everything else. But this is what we've been doing. This is our status quo right here. And we've been working this past month on skinning this up, and that should be pretty much out there. So scenario 1, this is basically what we've been doing right now. Scenario 1. Now, my time right here is about 16 hours a month I spend in the business, so it's not too much. It's, a couple hours a week, something like 4 hours, 5 hours a week. It's really nothing too crazy. And then I take 15%. I take 10% plus another 5% profit. So it's about, $4.79 an hour is what I'm making right now. So it's not bad. Now, just increasing mail right here, which we should have no problem doing. Our increased mail, we should get about 120 leads, make about 120K in profit. My payroll cost to be about 10,000, just because it's going to cost a little more with obviously I'm going to be paying my acquisitions more and all that stuff. Probably going to have to add a lead manager in here. So about 100 leads per acquisitions is pretty much like max. So if we get to 120, we probably need a LM. So we'll see how that works out. But this will put us right now 613 for the year. That's what we did, pretty much what we did last year. Now this upcoming year, right here, should be 1.3 if we just do mail. We just increase mail, should bring us in net about 1.3. Now, it is going to increase my time to about 20 hours, about 5 hours per week. And that'll basically put me at $8.20 per hour. So this is my highest yield right now. And that would look like this right here. 20,000 pieces of mail, 11,600 total cost, 0.6 response ratio, 120 leads, 10 contracts, 3 closed deals, and then my cost per contract is about 3,800, and my ratio is 10.4 to 1, which is great. So pretty crazy. So I think doing that would be good. But one thing we already started doing is we did start email. So we started this right now. So right now, between direct mail, we're here and here. These two is what we're doing right now. Email just launched. We are all warmed up. So we're using land emails. Awesome. Their friggin' mayor's amazing. So I'm super stoked about working with them. So right now we're using land email right here. Our cost, it's going to be about $1,200, not including initial setup or anything like that. Just our monthly cost about $1,200. And then our ratio is pretty insane. It's 21,000. Now our average profit per deal is smaller. These are not actual KPIs or anything like that. These are just projections that we've used based upon other people's deals and stuff like that. They've done with emails. It's about 17,000 average profit. Cost per lead is way lower. So my ratio is way higher, right? So per closed deal is about 800. Okay. So now with we do mail and email, keep it status quo. Talk about 92 leads, and it'll be about 92,000 profit per month, minus payroll, everything like that. That's about 83,000 net. My owner pay, my take home will be 12,485, and my hourly rate, because I'm going to be working a little bit more just because I got to be on the other front of the email and comping and things like that. So you're talking about $520 an hour. Pretty dang good. And that's about $1 million a year business right there. 7 figures. So then with increasing our right here, increasing our mail and leaving our email about the same. So we're talking about right here, these two. That's putting us at right here about 1.5 million, 1.6 million net for the year. And our team size is going to grow a little bit. We're going to have to add an LM for sure because we're going to be at about 140 leads. So we're going to have to increase a bunch of things. It's not that bad. Our data doesn't really increase. It's pretty much the same stuff. Because once we price, and that's pretty much done. So we don't have to worry about too much of that. My owner pay is about 19,000 at that point, almost 20 grand a month, which is great. But I'm working about 30 hours, 665, which is great, an hour. So that's putting me about 7.5 hours a week. So, and most of this time spent is in meetings. I'd say it's probably about 4 hours a week in meetings, and the rest of it will be like looking at deals, comping deals, talking to people, things like that. So about 664 per hour. Now, let's say here's the thing: we're going to be skip tracing all this data for email already. So because we already have the data, we're like, well, why don't we also just throw texting and throw cold calling in there, right? I don't love doing multiple outreaches, but we're going to end up adding this stuff in probably about Q3, Q2, something like that. We'll probably add in texting and cold calling as well. So that's going to bring us into like a 4-part marketing. And what that is going to do is we're going to be doing email, texting first round. Then we could cold call it. Anybody that's a no hit, we're going to cold call. And then after all that, we take everybody that's a no hit and we're going to go ahead and direct mail them. So what's going to do, so our response rate is going to be higher right here. We're going to be in that 0.6% because we're only going through the targeted people that have, not raised their hands or anything like that. So response rate should go up. And we're also selective about the avatar of the seller we're going to be reaching, all that. So now this is the problem. This is where operations get a little too crazy. By the time we add in 4 sources, it gets too nuts. Okay. And this is why I don't really want to do that. Like your bang for buck to me is not really worth it. Right. I'm going to be adding in 2 sources. I'm going to get a hell of a lot more leads, 390 leads, but my close ratio goes way down because cold call and texting leads typically are a lot more tire kickers and the spreads aren't as big. Right. So those types of deals are definitely going to be a lot more intensive. I'm going to have to add in another acquisitions manager, and I'm going to have to add in another. I'm going to have a texting manager and a lead manager. So operational wise, my team would grow to 7, not including myself and the TC and Rob. So it'd actually be about 10 people total in operations, right? My time, I'm going to be spending a lot more time in the business, about 60 hours a month. And my average goes down. I'm only making $432 an hour, right? But overall, I mean, I'll make $311,000 for the year, $25,000, almost $26,000 per month, right? But I'm going to be spending a lot more time in the business. So my ROE, my return on effort, actually goes down as I increase my sources. So it's not ideal. I don't really want to do that. But if I do that, it allows the team to make more money. The team, everybody in the team, all my team members are going to make a lot more money, which is awesome. I love to see everybody winning. So I'm going to have to bite the bullet on that a little bit. Now, the good thing is that as I start increasing this stuff and I'm hitting 2 million a year, I'm going to be probably adding in a more of like an operations manager or something like that. Something that if I bring in an ops manager, my time will definitely go down, right? I'm not going to be spending as much time inside the business because I'll have an ops manager. What that does do is increase my payroll a month. 16,000 will probably be somewhere around like 25,000 because that person will probably be making about 10K a month. So my overall owner pay goes down, everything like that goes down a little bit, but my ROE goes way up because now if I have an ops manager in here, then I'm not going to be in these meetings. I'm going to be coming in and just checking things up, like out once a week, twice a week, maybe spending 2 to 3 hours a week in the business. So that's the nice thing. Now, let's go back to here. So, for marketing tactics. So, we're going to be adding in cold emails. And then by proxy, add in text cold call. So Cold call, we would be using a service. The service costs about $4,500 a month to use the service. But they do everything. We don't have to worry about anything. They just give us leads, right? We send them skip trace data. They send us back leads. So we expect about 50 leads, probably more, but about 50 leads, let's call it. So we'll see how that works out. Now, so the sales process enhancements, what we're going to be enhancing with this stuff in the sales process, the actual acquisition side of things, is adding an LM is going to allow us to refine our follow-up sequences and stuff like that. To refine follow-up. What this is going to do is allow our AM to be on better calls, be on hotter lead calls. Now, also part of that is going to be the disposition side of things. So dispo is we're going to be having our TC as a dispo. The TC is going to be doing paperwork, transaction stuff, all that crap, right? But with that, they're also going to be following up on realtors, following up on everybody, just to see kind of what's going on with everything. So TC will be doing paperwork and follow up. Sorry, I'm sick right now. Picked up something during Christmas. Follow up with realtors and buyers. We do a lot of self listings and double closes this year, so probably going to keep that going. So rev goals, I'd like to hit 1.5 million this year. Profit for 2025. My operations cost, I'd like to spend less than 150K. Well, what are we going to be at? So we're going to be at costs. Some profit, yeah. If we could keep our payroll below 150K, below 150K, and ROAS, keep it at 22x. So our ROAS this year has been about, we've been anywhere between, I think at the end of the year, I think we ended about like 14x ROAS, right? Which has been pretty low. And the reason why is it's because of our acquisition side, and the leads that we've been getting have not been that great. So we have to increase our do better on our leads so we get a better ROAS. So I'd like to be at a 20 to 22x ROAS. So let's call it a 20x ROAS. Skills to improve. I need to be a better manager. Better manager. I need to be by being a better manager, I basically need to be able to, I mean, I'm really good at delegating, but I also need to be able to consistently stay in front of people and make sure I'm giving them everything they need, right? Because a lot of times what I do is since I'm doing multiple things, I kind of like step back and then let them free run. But I think I need to kind of be a little bit more with them, if that makes sense, just to be a little bit better. I need to be more present for the team. So that means more meetings, which sucks. Networking events. I'm going to be hosting more networking events. Probably bi-monthly. And the reason why you do networking events and all these things are capital raising, all kinds of things like that. Getting out there, letting people know what you're kind of doing. So definitely doing more bi-monthly marketing event, networking events. Miscellaneous changes. We talked about this. We're going to be doing a lot more meetings and things like that. Now, all right, so Q1 changes. We're going to be adding cold emailing, increasing our mail response rate, more targeted pricing structures, more meetings with set schedules. Okay, so Q2 changes. Texting. Cold calling. So texting, cold calling, Q2. We're going to be adding an LM here, actually. Okay, so add AM. I also want to increase everybody's. I want to do it company-wide raises. I want everybody to make more money. So company-wide raises in Q2. Bonus structure. I want everybody to win, so I want to give out bonuses. And I also want to add in donations. I want to do more donations this upcoming year. So Q2, we're going to add in more donations. Q3 strategies, we're going to be refining texting and cold calling. We're going to review email and mail KPIs. We're going to do a market reviews and so we're going to do some market reviews, and we're also going to review our seller avatar reviews. What that basically means, I want to see what types of sellers are actually selling to us, so that we could start refining our process and getting better and better KPIs. We're going to review our mailer and split test. We're going to go through and we're going to audit our P&L. I like to do this in the beginning of Q3 so I could change anything for Q4. Usually, and we have a bookkeeper that comes in and does our stuff like every week. Every month does our P&L. So order our P&L, go through everything, find out what our costs are, find out what's actually working for us, right? There's always an 80-20. Something always works, something doesn't. Q4 changes. So Q4 is where we're going to be reflecting on previous quarters. Release non-performing. Strategies. We're going to leave markets. It's killing me. Leave non-performing markets. We're going to do. So also to recount, this is all just for our basic land flipping stuff. This has nothing to do with our subdivides or anything like that. It's kind of a whole different thing. Subdivides are a different kind of sector in the business. If we do one subdivide per month, or at least acquire one subdivider per month, that could be something like, that's an extra. Man, if we're doing one subdivide a month, that's going to bring us probably close to, um, probably about an extra million, 2 million a year. So that's a whole different business. I look at it as so leave non-performing markets. We're gonna pause northern. So we're gonna pause northern state outreach until Q1 26. Let's see. Okay, so that's pretty much what we're going to be looking at. I gotta get a drink. I'll be right back. All right. A little seltzer. Okay. So pause the northern state outreach. We're going to do, we'll come back to that. So pretty much this is what our general changes are going to be. So to recap, so new markets, focus on new markets, update strategies, all that. So this is pretty interesting too. When we start looking at, it's a small increase in our KPIs and our response rates have huge impacts on our bottom line. So if we could just get this number up a little bit, which means pricing a little bit better, we should be able to increase our profits quite a bit. I mean, that's a pretty big jump. It's a 10% jump over very small response rate jump. Now we have had higher response rates in certain markets. So I think it's going to be doing a little forensic investigating of our prior markets and figuring out which markets had the highest yield and the best response rates. And then finding out why those markets were better, right? And what are the causes of that? So we're going to kind of look at that stuff, and then that's going to allow us to kind of like refocus. We have the email stuff is actually really great. We have just getting it set up yet. Hey, no. So we're doing about 20,000 emails a month. And we've already have all our data skip traced and ready to go. So that's all over there. It's just a matter of waiting for the leads to come in. So that should be pretty cool. Let's see, what else are we going to be adding this year? All right. What do you guys have? Anybody have any goals this year? Anybody have any plans on increasing their profits this year? All right. So That's going to be that. Scenarios. Okay. So part of all this stuff, when we start looking at these northern markets, we're going to be doing a lot of like searching for this stuff. And a lot of these deals we're going to be purchasing to then sell for the spring. So anything in these northern areas, we're probably going to be end up like contracting now to then close in March, April kind of thing, or exit March, April. So just because of the snow and everything like that. So we typically are looking at that stuff. As far as anything else goes. Awesome. So cool. All right. So upcoming too, part of this too is I also want to start bringing on more people onto these weekly calls. So if anybody out there is available for a call, hit me up in Discord and I'm going to drop the link in there. I want to start booking out people further in advance. So we kind of have a good plan of action. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a calendar link inside Discord, and anybody who's available, I'd like to have you on and we can talk about what you're doing, what your goals are, where you're planning on going this year, and any little issues you've had and stuff like that. So I'm going to start doing that. This upcoming year, we're going to have a lot more people on with me on my weekly lives. I'm going to go over a lot more of the their businesses, kind of do like little coaching sessions with them and talk about what's going on, why they're struggling with certain things. So it should be pretty cool. Besides that, like this upcoming year, I'm going to push a lot more time into, or a lot more focus into Leah in general. I mean, I love helping you guys out. It's probably one of my favorite things. So I want to do a lot more of that. So it should be good. So as far as everything else goes, I mean, I think this is it. This is going to be a good year for everybody. I really have a good feeling. So I appreciate everybody coming to hang out. I'm going to go out. We're going to go for a hike with the family and stuff like that. So I will see you guys all this year. See you guys next week. Later.